Hey, welcome everybody to the Business Geeks podcast. I'm your host, Super Joe Pardo from superjoepardo.com and indiepodcon.com. I am joined by my two co-hosts every single Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Sam, how are you doing? Sam is from Australia, if you don't know, and you can reach her at SamanthaRiley.global. What's going on, Sam? Are you guys staying safe down there?
We are staying safe. We are. It feels like a zombie apocalypse is happening in my neighborhood, but we're okay. We're actually doing good.
Jennifer from Sparent.co. How are you doing tonight? Are you social distancing your
I am. I feel like I've been training for this my whole life.
Says every introvert ever.
Yes. I mean, this is my game. This is where I'm gonna excel. I love being at home. It's where I'm very comfortable. No, this is obviously a challenge in many ways, but I'm wearing this. It is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm wearing what I was going to wear during my St. Patrick's Day 5K that got canceled.
Aww.
So that's why I'm dressed a little goofy. But yeah, we're hanging in, Joe. We've got food, we've got internet. I've got my dog, my husband, my books. Those are my essentials, I think. So
you've got all you need.
How about you, Joe? How about you? How are you hanging in there?
Well, we got back from Disney Sunday morning at 2 a.m. And my mom has been sick since like Tuesday. I've had a cough since about Tuesday, and Ava had a cough since I saw her on Sunday night. And I don't know. I don't know how we're doing. I've been self-quarantined from the shop. So I haven't been able to go to work, though. I've been taking care of some things here at the house, both for the house and the business. And yeah, just trying to continue to stay positive. I'm hopeful that I don't have it, though. It was weird, and one of the things I want to talk about tonight, because this is, if you didn't see earlier this week, this is a special episode where we want to take your questions about how your business is going to survive the pandemic, and we have a few words that we don't want to use going forward. So but before I get to those words. We got back, and but my mom actually went to the doctor today finally, and turns out she has an upper respiratory thing, but can't get a test until Friday, though she's going to continue to call to find out. She is feeling a lot better than she was when we were down there. When she was down there, she sounded like she was dying. Like, oh wow, straight up, like, yeah, it was really bad. But she seems to be doing a lot better now, but still dealing with like the stuff in the chest, and I don't know. I've been coughing. Yesterday was really bad. I was coughing during a live stream I did, and today hasn't been too bad. But Ava's been coughing a lot more, and then Dom started coughing right before he put him to bed. So I don't know what the heck's going on. I hope that we were able to stay safe. But speaking of staying safe, what are some of the words that we're going to stay away from tonight, Sam?
Yeah, I'm super, super passionate about this. I think that as business owners and as entrepreneurs, we are the people that are going to help the globe. And I say the globe because we've just realized how small the world really is in a very short space of time. We're going to help the globe move forward because, we will come out the other side of this, not without all sorts of challenges, but, we're going to keep the economy moving. And as business owners and entrepreneurs, we need to show confidence. We need to show certainty to our audience, to our clients. And when I say certainty, I don't mean certainty with what's going to happen, because none of us know what's going to happen. Just helping them to understand that there's different options available, and to be prepared and to be empowered and to plan and have plans in place. So in that, I think that we need to get rid of the words fear, rid of the words panic. Probably I won't say zombie apocalypse anymore. We need to get rid of those words and not use them, because if those words are in our inner head or they're inside us, then we're going to mirror that into our external world. So we need to be confident and or at least show confidence. Like I also want to say, let's be authentic, that when we're not feeling confident, and I'm sure we're going to talk about today some things that you can do to make sure that you are being looked after, then, you know, that's what
I would say that panic really doesn't serve us, doesn't serve our customers, it doesn't serve our community. I would say there are other P words that do. Plan and being proactive, I think are better courses of action. I think it's hard to do sometimes. Well, probably really hard to do because this is a new situation. Like we are in uncharted territory. We haven't been in this particular situation before. But we have been through, we've seen things. I had a business during 9/11 that was impacted.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the first tumultuous. Is that that's
yeah,
a word, right?
Yep,
Time.
it sure is.
It's hard to say though. It's not our first, it's our first rodeo in terms of tough times. It's just a different rodeo. So I agree with you, Sam. Let's approach this with confidence, because we're gonna, if anybody has, grit and determination, it is small business owners.
Absolutely.
We have daily trials and tribulations, and we're ready for this. We're gonna do this together, and we're gonna support each other to make it easier to do that, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Exhausted.
Well, so I know that there's a lot of industries that are like super impacted right now, and one of the industries that we're all three of us are very tied into is speaking, events, and being in the coaching area. So Sam, do you I know you've been on the phone like almost nonstop the last 48, 72 hours?
Yeah, I think we're heading into day 5. Not that I'm counting.
And what what's the sentiment that you're getting from your clients, your friends in small business, and are they starting to worry that things aren't going to go their way? I almost said the P word. I don't want to say the P word.
Yeah, and it's not the P word, because it's okay to worry, but that's got a container on it, right?
Yep.
And we're human. We feel all the feels. And of course, I mean, there's some industries that have absolutely been smashed overnight. Like I would not, the airlines, I don't know sort of what's going on in the US, but our Australian Airlines pretty much announced yesterday that that they could go through. We were lucky that the Australian government has propped them up, but Qantas, who's an airline, like one of our major carriers and has been for a very long time, if they weren't propped up by the government yesterday, they were done. Like this is crazy times.
They're saying like by June here, they could be kaput. With that said, United's asking for $50 billion in a handout. So
and I don't want to get into that today.
Yeah.
All I wanted to say that even though we're not using those words, it's like we do, all three of us are very compassionate and empathetic to what people are going through, because it is worrying times. But essentially speakers, I've got a lot of friends that are professional speakers that just lost overnight all their work. We're not talking about a decline. We're talking about overnight. So in Australia here, sort of everything happened last Friday, and all of my friends just lost all work. So it's about innovating. It's about pivoting. It's about all of the things that we can do, about coming together as communities, helping each other. How can we do things in different ways? I mean, we're essentially speaking here now, right? It's just a different platform. So it's about, thinking outside the box.
Yeah. So Lou asked the question, how long before we see normal, or is this the new normal? I would like to start with this one of being, I think that this is the beginning of a new normal. I think we're going to see some striking changes to the world that we live in that will kind of like in post 9/11 world. Things coming down that change how we go about doing things, how we go about preparing for things, and not allowing this to happen again. And part of that, might be more taxes in America. I know that one of the things they're talking about is sending a $1,000 check out to every American, which I don't know if that's for every week or every month or like a one-time thing. But if it's a one-time thing, then that's only going to go so far for so many people.
Yeah, I've been accused of having rose-colored glasses, so I tend to think on the uber positive side of things. So I was putting some thought into this new normal today, and I actually just started like writing down like the things that I thought would be positive coming out of this. And because we're talking with confidence and positivity, I'd like us to consider some of the things that might be good that comes out of the other side of this situation. And one thing that I thought about was, remote work, I think, will finally be embraced by corporate America, because they're going to, they're being forced to have employees work from home for extended periods. I think that is a game changer in terms of having a happier society, having a society whose life and work blend much more seamlessly. Less commuting, more time with family and at home. I think that's all potentially very positive outcome. I also think that people are going to be ravenous for restaurants and entertainment. I think we're going to see record restaurant food sales and event attendance. So if you are like us and running events, if your events are timed post this epidemic, I think your attendance is probably going to be pretty robust. I think companies are going to learn not to rely on single overseas suppliers for their products. A lot of small businesses who have products and have been relying on manufacturers located in China or other countries, have their businesses have literally just halted because they had that single supplier reliance. So I think, their businesses moving forward will probably position themselves a little differently in that regard. And I think as business owners, this just is a big wake-up call, and it teaches us that, the good times never last, right? We have to sort of prepare for anything, whether it's a terrorist attack, like 9/11 happened. Who could have possibly predicted that? And a global epidemic. I suppose we, with all the movies, we should have been able to predict it, but we just don't, think it's going to happen. And this happened really fast. So I think as business owners, I think we'll be a little better prepared. We'll be a little bit more resilient because we've now seen this, and we don't want to be in a position where our business might go under because we're ill prepared. So those are the things I think will be good coming out of this. It's hard to see that now because it's in the future. I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I too rose-colored?
No, and I agree with some of those. I think some of them will be different, and we've got to remember also that we're in different countries. So my perspective also is it could be a little bit different. I think that I can see that corporate Australia will go back to being normal and won't embrace the remote workforce, because I think that they're so set in their ways that instead of embracing this and saying, how could we use this to actually do things better, I have a feeling that they'll go back to the way they were, the way they've known how to do it for the last 20, 30 years. Go, oh, glad that's over. Like, let's do this normal thing again, and let's all commute 4 hours a day. So I hope that I'm wrong, but I'm not sure. I I think that, and I have seen online a lot of people saying, I think that virtual events will be the new norm. And I don't agree. I think that we'll embrace it while it's here. I already cannot wait to get back in a room and hug people. You know, I am the extrovert. I was meant to be running a 2-day intensive this weekend. It's been an extremely hard week going through how do I pivot. And I just had a call with my clients, and we're all like, oh, we were all so looking forward to, you know, coming together and meeting in person. And we're still meeting online, obviously, but I don't think that virtual will take over the event space.
I agree.
But I do think that some of the coaches that were relying on face-to-face, it might be the push they needed to do their one-on-one coaching online. So I think that will move over. And unfortunately, I don't agree with you, Jen, on the being prepared, because if people were prepared, they would have been prepared from 9/11 for this, and they haven't been. I think that as human beings, we come out the other side and go, oh, cool, I'm glad that's over, back to normal. And there will be people that are prepared, but I think there'll be a lot of people that will slip back into old habits. But again, I hope I'm wrong.
Time will tell if our crystal balls were accurate. I totally agree with that virtual, you know, the virtual versus, you know, in real life events. I mean, virtual is great. And I think the event organizers who have quickly been able to pivot their events to virtual events, oh my God, I've been so impressed to see people do that, because it's not just a click of a button. There's so much coordination and technical things that have to be worked out. And I've seen people tackle it just head on, and I'm so proud of them. I ended up moving my conference that was scheduled for May 1st. But the one thing I did that I'm so glad I did is I made a quick decision. When I made the decision, it was still okay by CDC recommendations to have events of 1,000 people or less. That's when I decided to move my event. My event's only probably less than 100 people. But I thought that number, that 1,000 number could move. And I just worked with the event, we moved our date to November. And it was fine. And it was not ideal. I didn't want to move the event, but I was so glad I just made the decision quickly and did it. And I didn't wait to see.
And have you found, Jen, that people have been extremely the understanding? Because I obviously only last weekend had to move my in-person event for this weekend virtually. I knew there were people flying in from all over the country. I knew that they had flights booked and accommodation. So I found it a really difficult decision to make personally when I'm thinking that I don't want to put other people out. And I was just so grateful that all my clients said, well, of course we understand why you've done it. Like, we all understand that, that's what happens. So, have your clients been super understanding too?
Yeah, everybody involved with the event was really understanding. Actually, I think a lot of them were relieved because they were starting to get a little nervous about traveling. There was still a lot not understood or known about, how this coronavirus was going to play out in our country. Like, it was still, a lot has happened in a really short period of time, and we're getting, hour by hour, updates and news. So I think everyone was a little relieved. This is a first year event, so it's smaller. So I had less moving parts, less involved in each part, because of its size. But yeah, people were very understanding. Ticket holders were understanding. Our speakers were understanding. Of course, I talked to our sponsors first, and they were most understanding. So we did it: sponsors, speakers, and then ticket holders.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say the speed in which all this happened. I mean, some of you watching, and I'm sure the both of you saw that I posted, like, should I fly to Podfest or should I drive? Because in my mind, I was like, I really didn't want to go. Like, I'm really glad I did. Like, I had such an incredible time. I met a ton of people. I got to spend some really quality time with some really awesome people. But like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't want to get stuck down there, right? Like, my family's driving behind me. I don't like this. If this ramps up, like, it could ramp up really fast. And this was like the days leading up to it. So like that Sunday to Friday morning, literally, I was the second to last person on the plane because I was like intentionally sabotaging myself by waking up late, trying to be like, if I miss the plane, then I have a reason to not go. And then, and it was tough because like my daughter knew like, hey, we're going to Disney World. Alexa, how many more days until Disney, until March 6th? And I'm like, she's like, Dad, 4 more days. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, I don't want to be excited about this because I have a really bad feeling that we're either going to get, the most traveled destination on the planet and we're all going there together. Now with that said, that leads me into something I wanted to talk about with the idea of brand power and the fact that when I was down in Disney, it was like a bubble. Very few people were talking about the virus. Very few people seemed to be worried. Very few people were even wiping anything down. The only person I saw wipe things down other than my sister, who was like boom, 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 hitting the Clorox wipes constantly, and myself, who when I got on the plane, I wiped the whole seat down and was like, hey, I'm glad that there was not 138 people on the plane because apparently there was supposed to be. And the guy about, the flight attendant was like, there ain't 138 people on this plane. And I had like the whole row to myself. The row in front of me was pretty much, I think there was one person in the row in front of me, one person in like 2 rows behind me. Like it was pretty sparse. But I want to talk about the brand power of like how like so when I was at the Marriott, right, and we gave Marriott a lot of crap, a lot of grief, just a handful of weeks ago.
One location.
Well, hang on a minute, and also we didn't do that. All of the reviewers did that. Can I just say?
Good point, Sam. Thank you. They did an amazing job having a ton of hand sanitizer stations all around during PodFest. I mean, some of them, like I could, if it was me, like the 3 of us made a chain, like we could touch both of the machines from like that. They were that close. So they did an amazing job. When I got to Disney World, though, there was like very few, very, very, like maybe 3 or 4 in a per park that I saw. And most of them were empty by the time I got to them. And then by Thursday, I saw hand washing stations, but like only like 2 or 3 in each park. And they didn't seem to be in good locations because they were like right outside of bathrooms. And I'm like, but you could go right there and wash your hand. Like, put this with like the restaurants, or put it like near like the quick service where there's no bathroom right there. You have to go somewhere else to get to the bathroom. Like, put it there. Don't put it next to a bathroom. That doesn't make any sense. But I will say, like the cleanliness and that kind of stuff, like it was there, but I was still very much worried throughout our time there, even though nobody else seemed to be worried at all. And to piggyback off that, on the way back, we I'm not sure if you know what Chick-fil-A is, Sam. Do you have them?
I do know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
we don't have them now.
Oh, okay. Well, they're great, but when we're driving back from Florida, we stopped at Chick-fil-A because of the fact that I was like, well, if I had the choice between like Burger King, McDonald's, Taco Bell, or Chick-fil-A, I know one of them is going to be clean, and it's going to be Chick-fil-A, because I know that they're going to have stringent rules because of the way they control their franchisees. And it was like when we went into the bathroom, you could smell the bleach. Like they were taking no chances. Apparently, there was a guy in there cleaning the bathroom.
I'm really
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Disney. To me, Disney is like the epitome of how we run a business. I am so surprised to hear that they weren't absolutely on top of that cleaning.
I mean, maybe they were cleaning the tables and stuff. Like there was people cleaning things, but like when it comes to like the easiest way for people to have access to cleaning their hands, which is supposedly how we can prevent this from spreading, they came up really short. And like I said, people just didn't seem to care. We ended up going to Publix, which I don't know if you're familiar with Publix, Sam, but it's like a supermarket down. I'm sure you're familiar, right, Jen?
Yeah, I don't think we have very many around here, but yeah, I know.
They are in Virginia, but not, I don't think right around DC. They're coming up north. I had never actually been in one before, and my good friend Anthony Hayes is like an assistant manager at one of them down in Virginia, but I went, and I was pleasantly surprised, like, because I saw all these posts online. People were like, "Oh no, like the food's gone, like food's gone, toilet paper's gone, like everything's gone." And so I was like, "All right, well, let's go." Like my sister was like, "Come on, let's go down to Publix, like go to the store and buy some things and take it back with us." And like like everyone's just like walking around with like their little shopping carts and like nothing's going on, like nothing's wrong. I'm like, oh well, this is pleasant.
I think that what you're talking about there, the branding though, is so important, because I had a similar situation that we were also on a road trip last week, and in Australia, I think our McDonald's stores in Australia are cleaner than the McDonald's stores in the US. Like they're super clean here. And I was, we were coming back and we're out in the middle of nowhere and we were hungry. We're like, let's go to McDonald's. We know it'll be clean. And, they've got, I don't know if you've got them there too, where you order your food on the big screen, and there was no sanitizer. And I was like, oh, and I stood there and went, I don't want to touch this, but there was no one serving. And so from a brand perspective, I totally understand what you're saying. Because the first thing I said was, well, that's me out of there for at least 6 months.
I had never seen that before. I'm like, we have them at the Wawas. We have the touch screens, like the little ones. But I had never seen that at McDonald's until we were in Spain, I think. In Barcelona. I think it was Barcelona that we went to a McDonald's and saw the big touch screen. They at that time, they still had lines because it was 2012. So they still had, like, you could walk up, place your order, or you could go to the screens. But I guess down there they don't have that. And I mean, it's also been 7 years now, so I don't blame them for transitioning over.
So, and I think off the back of that with brand, and I know that I just talked about this with my clients this morning, this is such a huge opportunity to, again, give your clients and your customers confidence that and trust that they can do business with you. One of my clients is a chiropractor. Now, overnight his work is drying up, obviously, because people don't want to come and have that one-on-one service. But it's a huge opportunity for him to say, well, I can't adjust you, but let's get on a Zoom call and let's go through something else that will help relieve your pain, or this is something that can help you adjust, or even bringing together a group of clients to do some sort of group breathwork class, or I don't know, I'm not a chiropractor, but there's an opportunity for him to make his clients feel safer, know that they're still being looked after, that they haven't been forgotten, that all of their worries are valid, and it's okay, we've got you.
I love that. I've been taking notes throughout the week of businesses that I've seen pivoting on the fly as a response to the situation caused by the coronavirus. Like their business is not as usual. And so some of the good ones that I saw, I think we've all seen the restaurants. They're offering like minimal contact, curbside service and delivery. So at least in my area, there are a lot of restaurants that don't do delivery, don't have, previously did not have, this curbside service, but they added those in immediately because they're not able to serve, sit down patrons in the same way, or they've been closed down for, in the case of like DC, they can't have, I don't think they can have sit down patrons right now. A local veterinarian I saw doing no contact appointments. So you call them, you pull up in the parking lot, let them know when you're there, and a vet tech comes out and takes the leash and takes your dog or your cat carrier in. And then the vet calls you in your car and gives you an update, FaceTimes with you. And that's how the appointment is conducted. I've seen gyms, yoga studios, therapists, co-working spaces offering virtual classes and programming using platforms like Zoom. I think that's amazing. I haven't seen this, but I was thinking this might be something that could be done. Like FaceTime shopping for retailers, as the retail industry has been equally hit. Showcase your products and things to people on FaceTime or Facebook Live, and then have people order products online, offer them a coupon for tuning in to your shop that way. And then I've also seen a rise in telemedicine. So just like what you mentioned, doctors conducting appointments online, in a variety of fields, whether it's psychiatry therapists, traditional doctors, chiropractors. I mean, this is pretty exciting. So I think we mentioned this previously, but I think if, like you said, Sam, if you think outside the box and think creatively, you might end up opening up some additional revenue streams for your company and shoring it up during this time. So I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I agree, Jen. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's great that people take a look at different ways of conducting their business and potentially different revenue streams, because like you could you don't have to wash your hands after you've talked to somebody in a Skype window, right? Like
everybody's safe.
Boom, 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 go so much quicker.
Everybody's safe. I think the tough industry, I was trying to think creatively around the restaurant industry, because I think the curbside pickup and the delivery is great. But
they're still preparing the food, and that's what it's hard for me to trust.
Exactly. So I mean, there are stark percentages of businesses down like 75-80% for most restaurants. So I'm thinking, but how does that industry innovate or think outside the box? So the only thing I could come up with, because I was thinking of my favorite restaurants that I miss going to already, and it's only been 4 days, geez. But I was like, I already miss you, Sweetwater Tavern. But I was thinking like my favorite dishes, my favorite cocktails. I'm like, if they offered, like, if I bought a gift card, and as a reward for buying a gift card for future use, I got access to videos where I got to see them make my favorite cocktail or prepare my favorite entree, maybe share recipes or tips or do some like kitchen confidential type things, to keep their customers engaged, and also encouraging them to buy a gift card to use later, so they have that some revenue coming in, and the ability to keep their staff, because that's a huge pain point. If they lose their servers and staff, then they don't have, it's going to be almost impossible to reopen those doors. So and plus we have unemployed people we don't want. So anyway, that was the only creative idea I could come up with. I'm sure other people could come up with more, but I do not want my favorite restaurants to close, my mom and pop restaurants to close. And I know that the owners work so hard. It's a tough industry with thin margins to begin with. So that was my idea. I don't know if you guys have anything better.
Well, not for that. That's fantastic, because I've thought about buying the gift card thing, but you filled that gap in beautifully. Yeah. And I guess I had thought for the entertainment industry, they've just lost everything overnight as well. And I was so excited because I've got a birthday coming up in a few weeks, and Leon had bought me tickets to the ballet, which I absolutely love. I was so excited, and it's all cancelled now. So they've just announced, you can get a refund, or you can move your ticket. And what I thought is, I don't want a refund because I want to go see it, so I will keep that. However, if they then said to us, but in the meantime, we can sell you this, online, where you can give you a login and watch it virtually, or, DVDs kind of aren't around anymore, but in actual fact, there's a lot of older people that still watch DVDs. So what could they do in the meantime to keep that excitement or to keep that passion? And in actual fact, I almost wonder if they would actually get more support and they could actually create more revenue. I mean, I don't know if that's a thing, but I thought if they've got some sort of, live streaming subscription where the fans could watch, daily class or watch behind the scenes of choreography, that they actually could really tap into an additional revenue stream and still keep the people that have already bought the tickets.
As long as they have somebody on staff that knows what the heck they're doing to do all that. That's the question.
I get that, but this is, those people that they might not have someone on staff, but in the entertainment industry, they've all lost their jobs. So I think that the biggest opportunity, or one of the biggest opportunities now, is how can we as business owners come together to help each other, to open up our networks, to help make sure that everyone's got something going on.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea, Sam. And I can just speak for myself. I'm not wealthy, but I would pay for that. I would definitely pay for that inside access to support the arts. But also, I want to do it to support the arts, but I'm also getting something like super like special out of it. I know a lot of theaters, like the New York Met, I think is streaming shows live, and I think they're doing it for free, which I think is great. But I remember thinking, I'd pay for that. Like, I mean,
I agree.
Money to put this production on and to stream it live. Like, I want to support the arts. I want you guys, when this is all over, I want to be able to go see a ballet. I want to be able to see a live play. The arts are essential to society. We have no society without the arts. So I'm totally into supporting them. But in terms of like businesses supporting each other, I feel so strongly about that. I think we're stronger together. I don't know that I've done everything I can, but I did send an email out to my business friends. I call my business friends because they're other small business owners that I've met, along the way in the past few years, and they've all supported me in some way or multiple ways. So I sent them an email today, just wanting to check in. I made a special Calendly link for a business friend check-in to schedule a one-on-one Zoom, because I just want to check in with them, see how their business is doing, see how we're weathering this storm, and then see if there's anything I could personally do to support them, whether it's just moral support, if I can write a review, if I can share something on my social media profiles, like anything, like I just want to see how they're doing, because I genuinely am interested and I love their businesses and I want them to survive. So anyway, but I'm thinking of other ways that I can support the businesses I love. I made a list on my Facebook page the other day about how people can support their favorite small businesses without spending a penny, because I realize that, people may have some financial constraints right now with everything that's going on.
We'll have to link that in the show notes. Leon, can you get on that for us, please?
What do I link my Facebook post? I'll give it to you.
Leon will. He'll be all over that.
He'll take care of it. It's not a problem.
Okay, don't ask too much of me. I'm not. I don't do well with multitasking.
It's okay, Jen. You keep talking. It'll be organized behind you. The podcast fairies are there.
Okay, thanks, Leon.
Oh no. One thing I wanted to bring up though is that the very realness of the fact that, like, it went with people being unemployed, like there's less money to go around and more decisions have to be made, and and that's really, really difficult. On top of, like, do I go to a restaurant even if it's takeout? Am I concerned about the people that, like, are making the food, like, coughing on the food or that kind of thing? So there's, on top of all that, it's like there's, a large amount of people that are not going to have money to go around, period, or are holding on to their money so that they, have it to extend it for longer periods of time. And I've been trying to think of, like, ways to get people to look past that and still say, yes, I'm going to spend that money, especially if you're in a coaching business. It's like that seems like it's not really going to be a high on the priority list when it comes to, like, I only have this amount of money and I need to survive.
I can see what you're saying there right now, Joe, because we're still in we've got to understand that we're still in this area where we don't know.
Yep.
But what's going to happen when people do lose their jobs super soon?
Yes. And
they need income. What is going to happen? They will need a coach there to help them to set their business up as fast as possible. And this is something that that is probably relevant to say as well, that our usual marketing is not going to work right now. So our usual, I'll help you make $1 million in the next 3 months is not going to work now. Like, people just want, how do I make sure that I can cover my rent this week?
Yeah.
How can I make sure that there's food on the table for my children? So any coach that can pivot very fast, make sure that they're serving the people that need help. I actually think that the coaching industry won't implode. I just think that maybe the coaches that probably weren't going to make it anyway have just had that runway shortened.
Yeah, I think a good coach, a good talented coach, that's their call. I think they'll always be needed. And I agree. I think this may I what I hope is that a lot of people, thanks Mary Sue. Mary Sue loves my headbands. Happy St. Patrick's Day. What I'm hoping is that this may inspire some people to start their businesses for the first time, maybe some things they've been thinking about doing. Also, for a lot of people, your regular paycheck is not enough to give you the security you really need. Like it's the people that are being laid off at the day's notice. Wouldn't it have been great if you'd had a little side hustle going on so that you had another revenue stream, so that you weren't so vulnerable when like unexpected things happen that, when you are employed, you have very little control. I mean, to me, that's the least secure position to be in. Granted, I've always been an entrepreneur, so I'm a little biased about that. But what I'm hoping is that this might inspire people to start their own business. I mean, one of my early businesses, I was desperate for money, so I literally walked out my door and knocked on doors and offered to clean people's houses. And by the end of the day, I had a full schedule and a cleaning business. I mean, zero investment.
Can't do that now. People would just be like, "I'm coughing in your face," and get away.
Well, not today. Maybe not today. Well, hey, I'll clean your house. I'll make sure that it's COVID-19 free.
Well, actually, let me just jump in there for 2 secs. I was speaking to someone last night, and who or what is the demographic that is so tired and overworked right now? It's people in the healthcare industry. Do you think that they want to make sure that they go home to a clean house and have food in the fridge? I actually think that, it's an opportunity. You just need to look.
You just need to look. And sometimes you have to, like when I knocked on the door and cleaned houses, like that was the hardest, like most laborious work I've ever done. I was not passionate about cleaning houses. I was passionate about paying my bills. That's what I was passionate about. I was passionate about not being homeless. Okay? and that there is nothing wrong with that. So I think, if you've got to, if you need to make money, don't worry about doing something you love, because what you're going to love is you're going to love paying your bills. You're going to love paying your mortgage. You're going to love supporting your family. You can worry about the passion later. Once you get stabilized, the passion, you'll have the luxury of, maybe doing something that you're passionate about. But yeah, just knock on doors, offer to help people do something that needs to be done. There are opportunities out there.
Absolutely. I think it's about being relevant. Just be relevant. Yeah.
I agree.
Hashtag be relevant. Lou likes his hashtags.
No, I was giving him an opportunity. I didn't say hashtag be relevant because I was giving Lou the opportunity to put it up there.
How dare I spoon feed our audience hashtags? Oh my God.
Okay,
come on, Lou, back me up here.
Hashtag white privilege. No, that's not the hashtag. Oh, there it is. Be relevant.
So with about less than 20 minutes left to go in the show, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. If you're watching this live on Facebook, and if you aren't watching this live on Facebook, you should totally go to facebook.com/businessgeekspodcast. I assume that's what it is.
That is what it is.
That is what it is. And set yourself up to be notified when we go live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard or Eastern Daylight Savings Time, EDT. Is that what we're in now?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so this topic of the the virus and all of the some of the hysteria which I don't think that there's that much hysteria, right? Like people seem to still be going out to bars. I mean, I drove by the gym yesterday morning on my way to the grocery store at my sister's house, and there was still a ton of cars in front of it, like as if there was like nothing's going on, it's all good, and then people are actually mad, like the gym is closed, like oh no, like I mean,
oh really?
Yeah, like because in Jersey and Connecticut and in New York they've closed like bars, gyms, theaters, pretty much any place that like people would
Congregate.
Yeah, congregate's the word I was looking for. Thank you. And so Mary, so it says, is a man cave? No, this is my garage.
I know. I just answered.
Isn't a garage a man cave anyway?
Well, it is insulated and there is a heater, but it's not on. So I had to wait until it was like warmer to be able to be out here. But now that I'm out here, I mean, just to prove that it's a garage, like there's my car.
Nobody believed you. Nobody believed you, Joe. I'm glad
Lou says, as entrepreneurs, you all know how to navigate a work from home business. What advice would you have for people who are new to this? What are some balance tips and tricks?
Oh, such a good question.
I would set like limits and boundaries, both time boundaries as well as boundaries for like where you're gonna work at, and because like sometimes I'm up in my office upstairs, sometimes I was in the laundry room, and now I'm out in the garage because it's warmer. Have those boundaries so you know where you can be, depending if you have young kids or not, where you're not going to be super disturbed or disturbing other people when you're like, hey, welcome to my show. And, there's a kid, like a 4-year-old sleeping on the other side of the wall. So those are the kinds of things I would definitely look for, especially with time, like know when to put it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would say definitely that the time piece is the biggest issue that people have when they're working from home. So I still set my alarm. I know that probably sounds very counterintuitive, but because I can work whenever, but I set my alarm because I want to make sure that I'm up, not, I'm having a bad day today, I'll just sleep in. Like, no, get up, very routine. Always make sure I've got, have my coffee, have my time to myself, whether it's meditating or journaling, whatever that is. Make my breakfast, get into the day at a normal time. And Leon and I actually block our calendars. So with our online calendars, our clients book in with us. But if there's a spare space and something needs to be done, we will actually block it into each other's calendars to make sure that it gets done. So we also run a project management system. But if there's something that's super urgent, we'll make sure it goes in the calendar to make sure that it gets done. But I'm sure you've got a ton of tips, Jen.
Oh, I don't know. Well, I love the calendar blocking. I do that too. I live by my calendar, manage everything by my calendar. I would say one thing was really important to me is setting up my environment so that it's actually like a pleasant place to work. And it sounds, simple, but for a couple of years, I had this desk that was just kind of like, I don't know, what used to be in the living room, ended up in my office. And I just had the chair that had come with it. And I don't know, I realized that the chair wasn't very comfortable. The desk like was hitting my leg when I crossed my legs. And I was like, you know what? I spend way too much time in this space to be uncomfortable, to not like enjoy it. And so I went and I just got what I wanted for my office, and I got it all super organized. And so now it's like I walk in, I'm like, I love coming in here. I've positioned, I've got the view of out the window. I've got artwork that I enjoy. I've got like things on my bulletin board that inspire me. I think that's really important. You're spending a lot of time here. So make sure that the space, not only do you like enjoy it, but that it works for you. So I had to get organizational solutions so that I felt like so the clutter wasn't there, because a cluttered desk is a cluttered mind. So that was really important. But I agree. I'm very much a creature of habit. I love a routine. I love to go to the gym in the morning, come back, get my coffee, like get dressed. I do get dressed. I think it's important when you work from home, just because you can, sit at the desk in your pajamas. I don't think you should, because I think there's a mindset shift when you go from bed clothes to day clothes.
I could not agree with that more.
So those are my tips. I love it. I've talked to people that don't love working from home. They like going into an office environment. It's hard for me to relate to, because I just love working from home so much. I love having my pets around me. I love being able to like control the temperature of my space. All those things I just love.
I heard vision board in there. Did you hear that? Did
No,
you
I
pick
said
up on that?
bulletin
No.
board.
She said
said
bulletin board.
That
was I meant-
inspires her. So
Bulletin
I'm
board.
hearing vision board.
A
Maybe I'm the
bulletin
only
board.
one that heard that.
Things that make me happy, but I don't. It's not a vision board. I assure you.
Wow. I
Good
almost thought there was
callback.
going to be World War III then for a minute.
Oh my God. Lou is no more hashtags for
Yeah,
us.
hashtag
No,
workspace that works for you.
you.
Aw.
I agree. I think a lot of it goes for what works for you. I forget who it was that had posted something about like, hey, it was like some billionaire or something like, hey, stop asking me what my morning routine is and just ask me how I think and how I work out problems and things versus like, who cares if I drink coffee versus tea versus go to the gym versus just go straight to work or work and then go to the gym and then come back and get more work done. Like, who cares about that? Ask the real questions that's burning inside of you. What's up, Gerard?
Oh,
Gerard.
Gerard says he's self-employed and he found renting an office space worked better for him. It's small, has a bathroom and everything he needs. Yeah, I know you meant worked instead of worried. Yeah, well, and I think that is going to work better for some people. In my first business, I started out with it at home and it wasn't working for me because it was a business where I had to interact with my employees and I got sick of employees coming to the house and I had to store like a lot of documentation and things for our customers. That was just getting like, it was taking up too much space. So in that case, it did make sense for me to move my office out of my house. But the business I'm in now, it's completely online. It's a virtual agency. I don't have customers coming to my house at all or employees coming to my house. So it works much better. So I think it really kind of probably depends on the business that you're in.
But just to bring it back to the context of this show, what we were specifically talking about was the fact that we do need to isolate and that, no, please don't apologize. I just wanted to make sure that I was bringing it back, that we might not have a choice of whether we're working from the office or whether we're working from home, that's what it's about.
Yes, that's what it's about. Thank you. If it wasn't for Sam, who knows where we would be. That keeps us on the straight and narrow, keeps us on the track.
Yes, absolutely. And Gerard adds, in the service industry, turnover rates are high. I don't want them all at my house. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
They don't need to be going to your house.
Yeah.
And Susan says it also changes as our life stage changes. I had worked from home for 15 years, but then wanted to be around other people.
Good point.
Yeah,
absolutely. But no, not very much chance for being around other people at the moment either.
I know. Now that there's a pandemic, like now we have to all be kind of.
Are you self quarantining down there in Australia? Is that like a thing? Oh, that's a thing down there. Okay, I didn't realize. So you guys,
it's not
ahead of it.
Oh no, we don't have to. So we're not in lockdown, but we've been asked to.
Yeah, us too. Which I kind of feel the opposite. I kind of wish they would just be like, let's just get this over with.
Yeah, I think that, and I'm no economic genius, but I think what they're trying to do down here is really make sure that we don't go into a really, really deep recession, that at least there is still some money moving. So from that perspective, I totally agree. And I think that our leaders all around the world, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes for anything because they're making decisions based on lose-lose situations, right? So I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. And I think that everyone, as I say, we're all doing the best that we can, but I know that the three of us are taking it very seriously. For me, it's all about making sure that I'm looking after the community that I might be all right, but I don't know if there's someone down the hall that's going through cancer or, there's an old lady that's unwell. I don't know that. So I think that it's our responsibility to make sure that we're looking after our community.
100%. 100% agree with you.
So with the little bit of time that we have left, I have something for Grind My Gears this week.
Nice.
And it's about systems and processes. I went to SeaWorld for the first time since I was like a little kid. And I don't even remember it then. And so my wife waits in line for one of the was it the water log flume type rides. And she's waiting all this time and like taking forever. And she gets up to the front and there's no attendant there. They're just like, you just like step up onto like painted numbers on the ground and you're supposed to just keep moving forward. And she's like, this is insane. Like she's like, I ended up walking in front of a bunch of people because they just left like 2 spots open, I guess, because there was a bunch of groups. And instead of having somebody say, okay, we're looking for a group of 2, a group of 3, or a group of 4, and then filling in the spots, people just stood there because I'm next in line, but we have a group of 8. So until 8 spots open, we ain't moving. So she just like pulled Ava and went in. And then she's like, no one was standing there and no one was watching the fast pass line. So she was like, well, just go up and just walk up the fast pass line. No one's going to check you anyway. So that's what I did. I walked right onto the ride. I'm like, this is driving me crazy because, you know, at SeaWorld, you have to pay for the fast pass. It's not a free thing. So you have all these people standing there and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, I'll just walk over. Instead of going right, I'll go left. And instead of waiting for 30, 40 minutes, I'll literally wait almost no time at all and go right up. And it's like they need, you know, if people are expected to pay $30 a person for Fast Pass, there needs to be a person there to like protect it. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, gosh, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I hated like doing that, but at the same time, like she already wrote it. I'm not gonna wait 30 minutes to ride again. But it made her day, Ava's day, that is Melissa, you know, not Melissa's day, but you know, so it's just like, come on, like you guys need to figure this out. Like you could be moving the line so much quicker. Efficiency. It's a thing.
Yeah.
And people are paying for it.
Doing or Shamu's ghost. Maybe he could move that line along.
It was, yeah, right? Like, yeah, animals could push it along for sure. And then I don't see anything this week as far as the one cool thing, but I have one that just popped up thanks to my boy Dre, who's watched this show several times. Saying this is hashtag Joe chose Fast Pass. Yeah, apparently, like, hey, if you're not going to protect it, like anyone could have just walked up, up that line. There was nothing stopping anybody from doing it. Yeah, right. So,
oh God, look at you two go. You actually crack me up. You can tell I'm Australian because I'm just sitting there going, yeah.
yeah.
I barely know what Joe is talking about.
I'm like those turtles on Finding Nemo. It's like, oh yeah, we're just chilling, dude.
Yeah.
That was like when you guys were talking about fast food, because it's been years since I've gone to a fast food place. So I was like, I don't know what's going on at McDonald's. I have no idea how clean it is.
It's only because we were doing a road trip. When you're on a road trip, there's McDonald's or nothing, or like some truck stop.
Yeah, I felt out of it while you guys were talking about that.
So my one cool thing, Dre pointed out that Cash App. Do either of you use Cash App?
I've heard of it.
Okay, so Cash App is produced by Square. You're familiar with Square, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they produce Cash App, and in Cash App, not only can you send money with no fees, like at all, between up to I think $5,000 or something with no fees. They have enabled, and I don't know how long ago they did this, but they enabled you to be able to buy stocks straight out of Cash App and buy partial stocks straight out of Cash App. So like, he bought like $10 worth of Amazon stock, even though that's like 0.001% or whatever it is. And that I think that's really cool because apparently, and I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like there is no fees for doing so either, and you can invest in these companies as little as $1. So I thought it was a pretty cool thing that cool. Yeah, for free. Yeah. Like you could start taking advantage of the fact that we have a super down market, and we'll most likely rebound. I am of that thought process that once we get this dealt with, we should come back, as long as this isn't an extended thing. Now, if this goes on for more than a year, there's like next to no confidence. Life is going to change drastically. It might not be the fastest recovery, but if we get this under wraps in, say about 6 months or less, I think there's going to be a pent up amount of demand for all of these different businesses. So I think we're I think he said the Stash app is like that too. $5 minimum, buy low, sell high. Hashtag buy low, sell high.
I think that's what you're saying, Joe. You're saying buy low, sell high.
Yes.
What great advice. We're all going to be day traders.
Yeah, hey, why not? That's it's a thing. I don't know, but it's nice.
Hashtag
It's an easy way to get
disclaimer.
it. Yeah, it's an easy way to get into it. If you're not going to be like, all right, I have $50,000 or $20,000, I'm going to just dump in at once and then let it ride.
Yeah,
and it makes it really
show us
easy
how
too.
that Cash App works, and maybe send me some money so I can see just a visual.
Well,
Yeah,
you need $10.
$100 just to make sure that it works.
5,000, just so I can see that 5,000 doesn't have a fee to it.
There you go. Lou's buying Carnival stock right now. Yeah, well, I don't blame you at all, man. Because when they get back, there's going to be a pent-up demand of people that want to go on cruises.
Absolutely.
Which I don't totally understand because, like, not coronavirus, but norovirus is a thing and seems to happen often enough.
So many viruses. I had a real quick grind my gears. I'm not going to go wild, I swear. But it's related to the topic. We have a little bit of time. I just want to, my grind my gears are people who are complaining to small businesses because of the things that they're having to do that are government mandated or mandated by the CDC or the World Health Organization. Don't complain to the small business because they have to close. They don't want to close. Don't complain if they didn't, communicate exactly how you were expecting them to communicate. They're just figuring it out on the fly. So give them some grace, give them some compassion. They are going through some terribly distressing times, and they could use a little bit of grace right now. So I've just seen a lot of people complaining, like, for really, like, not life and death things, like you mentioned, Joe, people complaining that the gym closed. Do you think the gym wanted to close? Are you kidding me? They are counting like the money that's just going out the door. So just be gentle with your businesses, be gentle with each other during this time. Everyone's a little on edge and going through something for the first time. So that's all.
Yeah, and I think that to back that up, for me, I've seen some amazing humanity come out of this. Yes. I've had the most beautiful emails from suppliers. Just, one of them, he said, I hope that this just puts a small smile on your face today. And I just thought that one little tiny line was just such a lovely thing to do. And so I wanted to give a shout out to all small business owners to say, hang in there. Like, let's support them. I think that people are doing amazing things. I've seen so much generosity, so much happiness, in times where they're challenged and stressed and they're really, pulling through, and that we need to not support small business, but support our fellow entrepreneurs and come together. We can rise through this and come together and come out stronger on the other side, hopefully.
Yes. Feel free to lean on us. If there's anything we can do, your business needs a shout out, you need us to share a link. I mean, we have that in our small little power. So
absolutely. And we would love to do that. To do that.
To go along with that, I wrote this week on Facebook, or it was yesterday, I guess, because man, every day feels like a week. It's insane.
It's like dog years at the moment for one day.
It's insane. I wrote, instead of shaking hands, instead of bumping elbows, instead of hugging, sad face, let's tell each other how much we appreciate each other, and let's be extra kind to one another. Let our words and actions speak louder than the physical contact that we just shouldn't really do right now. With that said, like, I want to tell both of you how much I appreciate both of you taking the time to do this show, taking the time to help the people that are listening to the show, and how much I appreciate them for taking in an hour of our wackiness for every single week. And I want to say I appreciate both of you taking on the show now twice without me being here and being able to be a part of it. And I gotta tell you, like, when I really wanted to be here last Tuesday, but everything was going crazy, and because my sister, her husband's cousin, the coworker of the cousin, was the first case diagnosed in Philly. And he had seen the cousin like 7 days earlier. So like it all came out like literally right before. Like I was like, okay, I got to be done. The kids got to be ready for bed. We're gonna give them the baths. I'm gonna get over and we're gonna do this thing. And it just was like not not going to happen. So I appreciate both of you.
That's
taking the
okay, Joe.
reins.
We have got your back. That's what we do.
That's right.
And thank you. I appreciate everyone.
Absolutely. We're so lucky. We're so lucky to have such good business friends and friends in each other. Lou, Lou says,
Thanks, Lou.
Thanks, Lou. Thanks for
Yeah,
being
thank
with
you,
us.
Lou.
And thanks for all the amazing hashtags. I hope at least one of them goes viral.
Double finger crossed.
I shouldn't be wishing for things to go viral in this climate. Why didn't anybody just catch me on that? We don't want to be going viral. There's enough viral stuff going on.
Because we do want the good viral.
The good
Hashtag
viral.
Support your community. Tell me, we do want that to go viral.
Yes, we
Support
do.
your community. Support your small business. We will have a list of things in the show notes of ways you can support your local small business without spending a dime.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. And if you have any questions, related to your small business, if you have any questions related to surviving this onslaught is onslaught one of the words? Is that one of the trigger words?
I think you could be getting close.
Of a virus, on our way of lives, and the way that we do business. Please do not hesitate to write to questions at businessgeekspodcast.com. We also have Sam, Jen, and Joe at businessgeekspodcast.com now. So if you want to send a private message to one of us, feel free to send that. And you should go and check out businessgeekspodcast.com while you're at it. Subscribe on iTunes or I don't know, wherever you're getting your podcast, we're probably there.
I hope we're there.
I hope we are.
I don't know.
Might need to check that.
Yes, we will. Leon, get on that. Everybody, I hope you all stay safe and if you are self-quarantining, I hope you and your family or whoever you're spending this time with don't kill each other in the process, because it could be a while. So just remember to give yourself space and time to be, just you and do you as much as you need. And we'll see you all next week. It's Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Awesome. I can't wait.